Now in its 9th season, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, celebrating junior bowling and elevating junior bowlers. Today, episode 182, the 2025 Kansas City Open February Point Tournament. 5 players have qualified for the TV finals, but only one can walk away as the Division III champion. Here are the 5 finalists. Qualifying in the number 5 position is Davis Christensen of Lee Summit. He'll face the number 4 qualifier, Cale Dawson of Laurie, Missouri. The winner of that match will challenge the 3 seed, Vincent Collins of Kansas City, Missouri. That winner will move on to face the 2 seed, Olivia Deere of Excelsior Springs. And the winner of that match will bowl for the title against Curtis Malum of Liberty, Missouri. He's our tournament leader. One of these 5 young athletes will emerge from the pack as the Division III champion today and will put their name on the coveted trophy pin. Strap in, it's happening now on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We welcome you to Crown Lanes in Leavenworth, Kansas, the bowling alley with the dinosaur in the front yard. And why, pray tell, is there a dinosaur in the front yard of a bowling alley? Well, that's the question I asked the first time I saw the place. But it's because this plot of land where the bowling alley sits today was once the home of Kittyland Amusement Park for little kids. And greeting visitors to the park on Spruce Street was Rex, the dinosaur who's been standing out front ever since Kittyland closed in 1998 and Crown Lanes was built. Inside the walls of this bowling center, you won't find a merry-go-round or a dragon, although you might find some fire-breathing bowlers, because on this day there were some fireworks on the bowling lanes. But we'll tell you more about that on our second episode this month, episode 183, which will showcase the bowlers in Division I. That episode will drop in about a week. Today we focus on the action in Division III. Now, as most of you already know by now, the Kansas City Open holds competitions in 5 average-based divisions. Division I is comprised of the scratch bowlers with averages of 200 and higher. But today, we'll bring you the championship round in Division III. Those are the bowlers whose averages fall between 160 and 179. Of course, we missed the January KCO because on the very day the tournament was scheduled, the Kansas City area absorbed an historic blizzard that dumped the 3rd biggest load of snow on record in this area. Heck, some of it is still on the ground where I live. Consequently, with all that snow on the ground, the January KCO was canceled. But today is a beautiful day here in the Midwest, and I can't wait to bring you the action here in Division III. We've got a field comprised of 4 first-timers on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and 1 player who's made 1 other appearance on the show, that player being Davis Christensen, who made the stepladder finals back in October when we were at Gladstone Bowl covering Division III. Davis was the 5 seed that day as well, and got beat in his only match by Luke Gramling, who won the first 3 matches only to be denied the championship by Liliana Gentlemark. So will a little experience bowling in front of the Prodigy camera give him an edge over the other 4 first-timers? We'll soon find out. It's time to get match 1 underway as Davis Christensen, the 5 seed, will take on Cale Dawson of Laurie, Missouri. He's the 4 seed. Cale's older brother, Zion, is the tournament leader in Division IV today. They're bowling to our left, so we'll keep an eye on him later in the day. But Cale has already visited the winner's circle once this season, back in November when we were in Lawrence, Kansas. Cale qualified as the tournament leader and went on to win. So this should be an interesting match to get us started today. Cale being the higher qualifier of the 2 players, had the choice, so he has elected to let Davis lead off. Davis, 17 years old. He's in his final year of eligibility as a youth bowler. And throws a rocket to the pocket and gets a little shaker action, a wall shot. And the full pin, the last one to go. It's not how, it's how many. And now Cale Dawson. Couple of two-handers, and they both seem to know how to strike. That's what got him here to the stepladder finals in Division III today. Cale goes by K-Dog, so I guess we're going to find out what kind of a dog he is today. Impressive start as he ripped the rack in the first frame. Now up on the left lane, we're bowling on 21 and 22. Pulled it. And that was left from the get-go, and he leaves the 6-9-10, a somewhat unusual spare. He'll go cross lane at it. And make short work of it. So a strike and a spare to start for young Mr. Dawson. The bowlers on our left, that's the Division IV group. The bowlers on our right, Division V. We'll recap their step ladders at the end of the show today after we visit with our winner. Wow. Tell you what, Davis Christensen not messing around with the oil pattern today. He's just throwing it hard and straight right at the 1-3. Might have been a touch high, but he got away with it. And that's a double to start. Gave that one a little bit more room. And result, identical to the first two. That is a turkey to start. Here is his unusual footwork. A three-step delivery. Don't see that very often. As a matter of fact, in my lifetime, I've only known one professional bowler to use a three-step delivery. Lee Juglard. Gonna have to go to your PBA history books for that one. 1950s and 60s. I mentioned earlier that Cale has an older brother who's the tournament leader in Division IV. We'll see him in our periphery to the left later on. His brother's the one that got him into bowling. Took him bowling one day, and Cale fell in love with it as he covers his single pin spare. Cale is 16 years old. He doesn't look that old, but he just turned 16 in December. Likes Packy Hanrahan as his favorite pro bowler and aspires to be a pro bowler one day. Oh, and if he gets enough breaks like that, he might just turn pro. Won't be able to hold him back. What got the 10? It had to be the 6-pin. The 6-pin will fly around the neck of the 10, but usually it gets it from the side. It got it from behind this time. Little unusual. All right, Davis working on a turkey. Make that a 4-bagger. Wow. Well, we wondered if maybe bowling on Prodigy once before, the experience of bowling in front of the camera once before might have settled his nerves a little bit. This time, he's showing no signs of nerves. He's perfect through 4 frames. That one got a little wide. And he leaves the 2-pin. Davis, one of these many bowlers, a growing number of bowlers, it seems, that show up on Prodigy from Lee Summit, Missouri. That has become quite a hotbed for junior bowling. And Davis says that the person who got him started bowling was none other than Caden White, one of our 3 co-players of the year this season. All right, Cale Dawson working on a strike. Comes in just a pinch high. Can't get the 4 to go. He says he loves challenges. Well, he's got one in front of him right now, needing to win 4 matches to go all the way to the top to run the step ladder. Takes care of the 4-pin. Says his best moment in bowling was when he won his first tournament. Well, that would have been in November in Lawrence, Royal Crest Lanes, when he was bowling in Division 5 that day, qualified first, won his match, won the tournament. Well, well. Another solid strike for Cale. Can't throw it much better than this. Over the 3rd arrow, out to about 7 or 8 at the break point, and down they go. All right, Davis. Right through the nose. Could have been a split. He leaves the 3-6-10, which is challenging enough. Take another look at Davis's game. Not only does he have a 3-step delivery, which is unusual, look at how he gets his forward bend. He doesn't bend his left knee, which is what we'd really like to see. He's got an almost straight left knee, but his spine angle is almost parallel to the floor. He's getting all his bend at the waist, which is a no-no. It gets your head way out in front of your knee. Keep your shoulders back, your butt down, and bend at the knee, especially a tall player like Davis. He's a tall, lanky kid, and taller players really have to have a lot of knee bend to get low enough to deliver the ball effectively. See how straight his left knee is? He gets away with it because he's pretty accurate, but he loses a lot of power because he's just relying on speed and accuracy. See how straight that ball's going? He could get so much more power on it. Very rarely do you hear coaches talk about it these days, but the game of bowling is played from the waist down. You get most of your power with your legs. Cale put this one through the nose and has left the 4-7. Not a particularly difficult spare for a right-hander. And he covers it. Cale has only been bowling for about a year. He's 16 years old and says that he started bowling at the age of 15. High game of 258. That'll go up. High series of 697. All he needs to do is throw a few more of those and he'll be in the 7s before he knows it. I like his game. A couple little things you could tweak. See how far from his torso that his elbow is? and then he kind of realigns it. Now the arm is more in line with where the launch angle is. But at the bottom of the swing, he's got a gap between the ball and his ankle. His hand is on the side of the ball, and elbow away from his torso. Keep that elbow in close. He gets away with it there. Can't argue with the results of that shot, but you want your hand behind the ball. Oh my. The 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. That's no fun. And his 24-pin lead is liable to get shaved a bit unless he pulls off a trick shot here. Here's how you make the split. Boy, he gave it a ride. Didn't miss by much. But that's an open frame, and now his 24-pin lead is down to just 10 as we enter the 9th frame. Oh my. Well, you see, that's what I'm talking about with the loss of leverage and power. As much speed as he generates, he needs to have a rev rate to match up with it so that the ball doesn't deflect around the 5-pin. He almost left a 5-7. But as it is, just the 7. And he makes short work of it. But now, Cale Dawson trailing by 10, working on a strike. He can even the match with a strike here in the 9th frame. But Cale's ball fails to make that final turn into the pocket. And now he's going to have his turn with the 7-pin. Just didn't quite make the corner. I think that's because he just threw it a little too hard. Now you don't have to hurt him now. That's why they paint him. Hey, once it's down, you just forget about it and move on to the next shot. But that was cutting it a little closer than I like to see. Anyway, now he trails by 10 going into the 10th frame. He's going to need to catch a double here if he wants to pull even with Davis. Well, there's the first strike. He almost had to have that. That forces Davis to at least show up in the 10th and mark. This was a good shot. I think this kid has potential. But let's see what kind of a clutch player he is. He needs a strike. Oh, he loved that one when it left his hand. You could tell whenever a player goes to their knees, you know they liked it. Just a little too much drive on the back end, and he chops the 5 off the 9. He's going to finish with a 203. Well, okay. There for just a moment, I thought, no, you're not going to finish with 203. You're going to throw it in the moat. But no, he gets the 203, so the situation is pretty simple for Davis Christensen. He needs a mark. He needs to fill 11 here in the 10th frame. Oh, man. When you need a mark, you do not like seeing the ball go through the nose like that. That could have been a split. Again, he's left himself a somewhat challenging spare that can be easily chopped. Put the ball on the 3 and 6. He does. So now he's got 200 bagged. He needs 4 pins. And I like his odds. Oh, and dare I say it, stay behind the foul line. Yeah, he slides a good 8 or 10 inches behind the foul line. I don't see him fouling anytime in the near future unless he just trips and falls. But that is a victory to start the day. And Davis Christensen is moving on to match 2. He'll face Vincent Collins. After starting with a strike on the right lane in the first frame, Cale Dawson just couldn't unlock the mystery of that vexing right lane. He had the left lane figured out most of the match, but just couldn't catch a double on the right. Even in the 10th frame, where he finished on his good lane, where he'd been striking most of the match, he just couldn't produce a double to put much pressure on Davis. If he had, we might have been looking at a much different result. But Davis Christensen's hot start with a 4-bagger out of the gate put him in a commanding position, and he was able to coast to the finish line. Even then, the match came down to the final ball. So it's Davis Christensen who wins match 1, and now he takes that first step up the stepladder to challenge our number 3 qualifier, Vincent Collins of Kansas City, Missouri. Vincent is the youngest player in our 5-player field today in the stepladder. He's just 13. He'll turn 14 in June, but he's got maybe the most experience. He started bowling at the age of 5. Well, hello there. That is a nice little opening toss for your first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. So he throws an emphatic strike. That should get Davis's attention. But Davis says, I can throw strikes too. Watch this. Whatever you can do, I can do better. Well, I don't know if it's better, but a strike is a strike is a strike. Davis, one of the few bowlers we see at the KCO who bowls league at Lunar Bowl, a bowling center over on the northeast side of town, actually kind of the east side of town, over near Blue Springs. He lives in Lee Summit. Real nice bowling center. I'm not sure why they don't host a KCO every now and then. I guess they just don't put in a bid for it. I'd love to show you that bowling center. It looks great, but they gotta want to be in it. That was stuffed right in the hole. Well, Vincent crosses over that time. He made the stepladder finals earlier this season, qualifying 5th, finishing 3rd in Division 4 in Olathe back in September. Oh, not with shots like that, he didn't. I don't know if that slipped off his hand or what, but not his best effort. Vincent's high game, 241. He says that he goes by Jerry, but I don't know him well enough to call him Jerry. His name is Vincent. I don't know where that comes from, so I guess I need to ask more questions. But I know this much about him. His dad is the one who got him into bowling, and whenever I see Vincent at one of these tournaments, his dad is never far away. All right, Davis working on a double. Look at this. He just ripped that 5 over into the 7. And getting off to another hot start, just like he did in the last match. All right, you see the ball right under his head or a little closer, but see how the bend in his arm? That's kind of weird. Puts his hand over on the side of the ball. I wish he'd keep that hand behind the ball, although I'm not entirely sure if that's just not the way he's built. So I'd have to be around him a little more to know. But you see how that ball deflected around the 5? There again, he got the wall shot to come take it out, but he should be driving through with that ball. Look at this. See how his hand is way over on the side of the ball, all the way at the top of the swing. And his arm is still bent as the hand comes through the release, and then he follows through to his left ear. It's like he's trying to flip the ball over with his hand. Nope. Stay behind the ball. Let the ball roll off your fingers. Don't try to spin it or twirl it. You'll give it just enough axis rotation by rolling it off your fingers. It will hook plenty. Well, we've been visited by this spare already a time or two today. Everybody's covered it every time they've faced it. Vincent, that's a challenge. No, he makes it interesting, but it gives him a big smile and gave us a bit of a little thrill. Watch this. He'll nearly chop the 3 off the 6. The 6 goes and stands in the gutter and then just lazily leans into the 10 for a love tap. There, that's more like it. That could have been a strike. Stone 9. Tell you what, give this kid another year or two with some coaching, he could get a whole lot better. There you go. I like his attitude. All right, Davis Christensen. Nothing but strikes on the sheet so far this game. Oh, that ball hit the floor almost by the heel of his foot. I think that just fell off his hand. Got into a roll very, very quickly. And now he's got the 310 baby split. Just fit the ball right between them, hit the right side of the 3-pin. The ball will deflect into the 10. Just like that. Beautifully done. And worth a second look. That was textbook right there. Davis plays a couple other sports as well as bowling. He's into baseball and soccer. Don't recommend you kick a bowling ball. That was a good shot right there. Kicking out the 10-pin. His high game, a 274. His high series, a 699. And I can pretty much guarantee you he'll be shooting games in the 7s before long. Look at this. Here comes Vincent. If he could string just a couple more of those, he'd be right in it. See, he's in pretty good shape right there. But then at the bottom of the swing, even though the ball is right below his head, you see the gap between the ball and his ankle? If he'll get his elbow in close to his body, his hand behind the ball, he'll bring that ball in closer to his ankle. That'll increase both his accuracy and his leverage vis-a-vis power. There you go. There's that much-needed double I was talking about. Cuts the lead to 21. Now, if he can throw another one or two of those to keep this string going, or hope for Davis to have a misstep. That was a good shot. All right, Davis, he's working on a strike. Nearly got another one, but that was just a wee bit high. He leaves the 4-pin. Easy spare. This is Davis's 4th appearance at the KCO this season. His best finish of the season so far, you saw it on Prodigy back in October when he qualified 5th and finished 5th, losing to Luke Gramling, who won the first 3 matches and then lost in the championship match to Liliana Gentlemark. Uh-oh, yikes. The 4-6. Well, this has been made once before on Prodigy by Antonio Miranda. That's how he did it, and it's the only time I've ever seen it made that way. I've seen it made where somebody would bounce one of the pins out, but to slide it across? Well, you got to be bold in going for it. That was a little too bold. And so Davis 8 out. And now look at this. This match is down within a mark, and Vincent can take the lead with a strike here in the 8th. But instead he goes through the nose, loses 2 pins in count, and now trails by 9. Got to cover this. Stay close. Look out. Okay. Sent that thing so wide, I started wondering if it was going to stay on the lane, but it did. It's a spare, and we've got us a close match. That was a pretty good shot right there. He resisted the temptation to send that thing too far out to the right, where it would only overreact on the dry part of the lane. He kept it in the oil, and it's set in the pocket, but just a pinch high leaves the 4. But he covers it easy peasy. But now watch this. I see this a lot with youth bowlers. Watch this. Ball gets to the bottom of the swing, and his hand is already on the side of the ball. If he'll keep his elbow in close to his body, that'll rotate his hand back behind the ball, and it'll be in the proper position. Boom. Tell you what, Davis Christensen has the advantage of being a tall, lanky player that can play to your advantage. He's got a super long reach. If he follows through to his target, he can be very accurate. And even without a lot of revs, he can pound the pocket just like that. You hit him there with that kind of velocity, and I don't care what kind of revs you have, they're probably going to go down. Not necessarily the way we coach it. And it may never make him a 230 average, but he can hang with some of these better players. But sometimes you throw it a little too hard like he did there, and it's like a golfer hitting a putt through the break. But you look up at the score sheet, and he's already won the match, so comme ci, comme ça. He can throw this one in the moat, and it will not matter. But he won't. He covers it. And that is a pretty tidy little 224. A 224 with an open frame, I might add. And Vincent Collins never knew what hit him. He bowled a pretty good game, too. And there's a strike in the 10th. He's going to be in the 200s. You're a Division III bowler and you finish in the 200s. You've done your job. He just needs to work on a few things. I see players like Vincent sometimes, and it just looks to me like he's trying to muscle the ball. Just let it swing. Keep your hand behind the ball. Turn it just a little bit at the very end when it comes off your hand. Don't try to spin it and twirl it when you let it go. Just roll it off your fingers. Not that it will matter, but Vincent, if you want to show us a trick shot here, that would be a crowd pleaser. How about it? Too much 3-pin. But 9 out, and that is a 204. That's a good game to throw in defeat. He didn't lose it, he just got beat. And Davis Christensen is moving on to match 3, where he'll face Olivia Deer. A really well-bowled match there, as each player had only one open frame. But once again, it was Davis Christensen who got off to a fast start with a four-bagger to open the match. But Vincent Collins proved to be a scrappy competitor and stayed close. But just when he had that double in the 6th and 7th and a chance to move out ahead with another strike in the 8th, he just came up short. But I think Vincent will learn from this experience, and I don't think we've seen the last of Vincent Collins. But for now, it's Davis Christensen who's riding high and suddenly finds himself in rarefied air, just one more win away from bowling for the title. But he'll first have to get past Olivia Deer, our 2 seed. Don't let the fact that Olivia is the only girl in our field fool you. She isn't the least bit afraid of bowling these guys, as her position as the number 2 qualifier proves. I expect this to be another close match. I want to send out my best wishes for a speedy recovery to the Prodigy Director of Research, Adam Crouch, who I'm sure is watching this. We wish you the best, my friend. We had a couple of people down today. KCO Chairman Lee Miller missed the tournament today, and we're hoping that he is fully recovered and back in action the next time we gather for the next KCO. Heck, I wish everyone a speedy recovery, whether they need it or not. Let's all feel our best. All right, it's going to be Davis Christensen leading off. Well, he sure does know how to get off to a fast start, doesn't he? All he does is strike in the first frame, or the first few frames, if the last couple of games are any indication. Now Olivia Deer chatting with Brent Whitesell, one of the KCO board members and our official observing this championship round. That one through the nose, and she leaves the 310 baby split. Olivia is 15. She turned 16 in April. Bowls a Gladstone Bowl. They've got a pretty fine youth program out there for kids on the north side. And she gets a little too much of the 3-pin there to cover the baby split, so it's an open frame to start. You see we've added her 14 pins of handicap into her score right there in the first frame. That's how we handle it here at Prodigy Bowlers Tour, so you don't have to do any addition in your head. It's all added in right there in the first frame. Well, it looks like she's just not quite lined up yet. There's a practice pair for the players to stay loose on while they're waiting to come bowl their stepladder matches. And they get 2 practice balls on each lane of the TV pair before they start bowling the match. She covers the spare, but she's going to have to make a slight adjustment on the approach to stay off the nose and get that ball to finish in the pocket. Because I have a feeling Davis already knows where to stand. He is lined up, and look out for him in the early frames. Oh, well, is that an example of the announcer's jinx? I hope not. But I didn't see that coming. Davis has got to be thinking, what was that? He threw a Christian Manel is what he did. Oh, with apologies to my good buddy back in Atlanta. He was kind of known for that. And to tell you the truth, he was kind of known for that, too. Throwing a gutter ball on the first ball and then coming back and cleaning it up with the second ball. That's the way to do it. And you know what? He was on a strike, so that first ball was as good as 9 as long as he made the spare. So, again, we've added his 1 pin of handicap into his score there in the first frame. But, boy, I tell you what, after I was bragging on him and how lined up he seems to be in the early frames, he's thrown a couple of errant ones here in the second and third frame, one in the moat, and this one right through the nose. That could easily have been a 4-6, but the 4 went down. He's got just the 6. And he covers it. But he might want to sit down, breathe a sigh of relief, and thank his lucky stars that that didn't go worse than it did. All right. Olivia, dear, her sister and her mom have both bowled on Prodigy before, but I believe this is Olivia's first time on the show. And once again, that ball charges hard on the back end, cuts across the nose, finishes on the Brooklyn side, and she's lucky to leave just the 6. Olivia's career high game, a 250. Her high series, 620. Let's go to work on that. I think we can improve on that one. She's obviously a pretty good spare shooter. You know, when I asked her how she got started bowling, she said she doesn't really remember, other than just going bowling one day and deciding she liked it. But I got to assume that with all the bowlers in her family, it was kind of bound to happen. Good shot, that one. 6 pin just went right around the 10. A ringing 10. She bowls high school bowling, but she's on the Missouri side, where high school bowling is just a club activity. They still take it pretty seriously, depending on which school you're at. Boy, there's a good cover of the 10 pin. But it's not quite like Kansas, where it's a varsity sport. In fact, you'll notice in our field today, you don't see many Kansas kids. That's because in Kansas, if you're on a high school team during the season, and they are in the midst of the season, you can't bowl tournaments. And look at this. Davis starting to spray it all over the lane. Misses the head pin. Leaves the somewhat unusual 1-2-7. You got to put the ball on the left side of the head pin, favoring the 2, so that the ball will bounce over into the 7. And he got it a little too much on the head pin, so there wasn't enough deflection to send it over into the 7. And, well, that's an open frame. That's no good. Certainly not what he wanted. Davis wants to be an electrician when he grows up. I may be hiring him to do some fix-up here in my studio. Oh, no. No. There's one right through the snoot. It's the 6-7. Come on, show us a trick shot. Boy, I tell you what, he's not afraid of him. He went boldly for it, but just got a fraction too much of the 6 pin, and that's back-to-back opens for Davis. And now, look at this, Olivia with a 26 pin advantage. Oh, hello. Well, this isn't supposed to be a copycat exercise. But now she's going to show us what she can do with the 6, 7, 10. Essentially the same split, just add the 10 pin. And she just takes the 2. So the players' exchange opens. Olivia still leads, but her lead has shrunk down to just 12. Oh no, not again. Well, this is getting to be a little too much of a habit. She's put almost every ball either on the nose or Brooklyn. She needs to move her feet left, probably move her eyes left at the arrows, get into the oil. She's just throwing it out into the dry part of the lane where it's going to hook early. And she's got to move. Move, move, move. And you keep seeing the ball finish in the same wrong place again and again. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Move. Look at this. The lead down to just 1 pin for Olivia, and suddenly Davis comes to life. Watch this. This is like, any questions? Not a one. Man, that ball probably didn't hook a board, but he started it right on line to catch the light pocket, and he just got the shaker to do its thing. Watch the head pin. It's going to go to the left wall, come back and get the 4. It would have gotten the 5 if something hadn't already gotten the 5. All right, Olivia, it's go time. Well, she actually just sent that one a little wider, a little too wide, in fact. Leaves the 2, 4, 5. Let's take a look at her game and see if we can pick up where she could do some work to improve. At the top of the swing, she's in pretty good position. The ball is pretty much right in line and on line with her launch angle, but look what happens at the bottom. See how far the ball is from her ankle, and her elbow is way far away from her body? If she will keep her hand behind the ball, move her elbow in toward her torso, and work on getting that ball closer to her ankle, she'll be in much better position to deliver the ball with some authority and more power. Still, I've seen great improvement in her game in the couple of years that I've been watching these kids bowl. I mean, obviously I can't follow every single one of them, but I see them all. And she's got a nice straight arm swing. There you go. That's what you're looking for right there. Watch this one. As I always say, just do that. Why make it harder than it needs to be? Just do that. She swung that one straight back and straight through. And I'll tell you what, if you have a straight arm swing, it will make up for a lot of other problems that your game might have. If it's straight back, straight through, and you can hit what you're looking at, you can play this game. Regardless of what your rev rate is or what your axis rotation is. I don't care about any of that stuff. Tell you what, these kids have done really well on the 3-6 combinations today. I don't think a single one of them's been missed. That's impressive.
I mean, we're talking Division III here. 160 to 179 averages. The only spares I've seen missed are spares that you wouldn't expect to see made. The splits. Ooh, boy, he's tempting fate now, throwing it there. That was right through the nose. It could have been a 4-7-9. Looked like it was going to be a 7-9. The 9 went out. He has just the 7. And he just barely knocks it over, but he does knock it over. But looky here. Up in the 9th, Olivia Deere, trailing by just 5 pins and working on a strike. She can take the lead with a strike here. Well, that was kind of close. It just drifted a little high. You know, if I was going to work with her, one of the things I'd want to see if I couldn't do is generate a little more ball speed. That might have been a strike if she just had a little more velocity on the ball, but she can make this spare. Stay close. All right, there you go. So, this is what championships are all about. Can you perform in the 9th and 10th, especially the 10th? Olivia trails by 5, but if she can double in the 10th, she will force Davis to double. That was a pretty good swing there. Yeah, that was a really good swing. Okay, there's one. Let's take a look at her footwork. 6 steps. Some really good players through the years used 6 steps, not the least of which was Mark Roth, the father of the modern power game. All right. She could really use another one here. How about that? Well, that's put all the pressure on Davis now. If she can get any kind of reasonable count here on the fill ball, she will force Davis to double. There's no doubt about this one. Look at Olivia. You go, girl. How about another one? Just for fun. That's an excellent shot, and a 9 count will more than get the job done. Davis, working on a spare, is going to need 2 strikes and 5 pins to beat Olivia. He must strike on the first ball and the second ball to win. Oh, man. Another one of those balls that he threw it so hard it was hydroplaning down the lane. Never got into a roll, but he catches it right in the wall shot part of the head pin. And the head pin gets the 4 gets the 5 and the 7. And, well, it comes down to 1 ball now, virtually. Strike. He wins. No strike. It's Olivia bowling for the championship. And he trips the 4. He's got all the shots. Usually on a trip 4, you'll be able to see the 2-pin slip between the 4 and 7, but this happens so fast. Watch the 2-pin, the third one from the left. It just barely ticks the 4 as it goes by. That was pretty unusual, but now he just needs 5 pins and to stay behind the foul line. Bingo! That's the way you finish off a match. Both players performing in the clutch. But this time it's Davis Christensen who gets the better of Olivia Deer, and now he is bowling for the championship against our tournament leader, Curtis Malum, next. So before we turn our attention to the championship match, let's take a look at how we got here. The day started with the 6-game qualifying round, with the field being divided into the A and B squads. Players in each squad bowled 3 games in the morning and then come back for 3 more games in the afternoon block. Of course, you know who our top 5 qualifiers were. It took a little more than a 200 average, including handicap pins, to make the cut and advance to the stepladder. As you can see, Micah Elias averaged 200, but could only get to the alternate spot. There you see in 8th, Jackson Conroe, the younger brother of Caleb Conroe, who appeared on the show in November. Anna Keeler and her Division II twin sister, Hadley, wanted so bad to make the show today, but the best they could do was get this shout out. There's little Adam Wilson of Lawrence, Kansas, and Haley Hill in 14th. Now, you may recall that she and her sister Hannah, along with their parents, suffered a house fire about a year ago, and I'm glad to report that they've moved into their new house in Kansas City, Missouri, and life has begun to return to normal for them. There's Connor Boob, the younger brother of Colton, who won on Prodigy a little over a year ago. And Kaylin Melvin, who didn't have the day she wanted today, but I know she'll be back. And there's Liliana Gentlemark in 22nd. She won earlier this season on Prodigy when we were in Gladstone. And little Cameron Watson, a two-hander who throws a backup ball. You won't see him bringing up the rear very often. I imagine we'll get him on Prodigy one of these days. But that's how qualifying played out in Division III today. Well, I've said it dozens of times before on Prodigy. I loves me some close matches. And you won't find them much closer than the match we just witnessed, as Olivia Deer needed a clutch double in the 10th to take the lead and force Davis Christensen to double in the 10th. She got her double, and then Davis threw another one to top hers. And needing only a modest count on his fill ball to seal the deal, Davis threw a third strike in the 10th to send him on to the championship match. But Olivia Deer has nothing to hang her head about. He did what she had to do and put Davis's back against the wall. But he performed in the clutch and took the match. So it's Davis Christensen who's bowling for the Division III title today against our tournament leader, Curtis Malum of Liberty, Missouri. Curtis has one KCO title under his belt, but it was an adult youth doubles tournament. So both of these young men are seeking their first solo tournament win today. And one of them is going to get it. That ball kind of quit on him at the end. It was starting to make the move up toward the pocket, and then it just kind of flattened out at the end. So he leaves the 7. So we've got a match between two two-handers. One tall and one not so tall. There's a spare for Curtis to begin. And now Davis, let's see if he can once again return to his ways of starting with several strikes right out of the gate. Well, he gets the first one. He's struck in the first frame of all 4 matches today. Tell you what, that is a great trait to have, to be somebody who can get off to a fast start. I always prided myself on being pretty good in the clutch if I could get there at the end where a few shots would matter, but being somebody who can start fast sometimes you get yourself in a position where you don't need to finish strong. Well, that's not so great. Right through the nose, could have been a split. Leaves the 6-10. And all these right side spares have been made today by pretty much everybody, I think. Uh-oh. Well, sorry, Davis. I put the curse on you again, the announcer's curse. Golly. All right, let's take a look and see if we can pick up what might have happened there. Look at this. At the top of the swing, his hand is right behind the ball. But then, before it even gets into the downswing, it's on the side. His elbow is way away from his body. And you're almost destined to pull it left when that happens. Stay behind the ball. Keep your elbow close to your body. Keep that swing on plane. He kind of comes over the top. Golfers will know what I'm talking about. Ooh. Pretty good shot by Curtis, just a tick high. Leaves the 4. What I'm talking about when I say a player comes over the top, like I said, a golfer will know about this, but when you get to the top, you go back with your backswing on one plane to the inside, and then at the top of the swing, your arm swing bounces out, and you come down through the downswing on a different plane out to in. That's what I see Davis doing. He gets away with it a lot, but he'd be better off if he could keep the arm swing on the same plane, going back and coming down. He'll see it if he watches the video enough. All right, couple of spares to start for Curtis Malem. Oh, man. There's another really good shot, not rewarded. Stone 9. Curtis's high game, a 267. High series, 671. It won't be long when he'll start piling up 700 series. Started bowling when he was 4. So at 14, he's already been bowling for 10 years. Yeah, I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. We're going to be watching Curtis Malem grow up on the lanes, I think. Davis gets the trip 4. See if we can pick up these 2 swing planes he has. One going back and one coming down. Watch this. It's inside, and then it bounces to the outside and comes through on the downswing on an out-to-in swing plane. Very high on the head pin. But the 2-pin does the job from the left wall to split the 4 and 7. Thank you very much. Uh-oh. Well, I thought he might have just dumped that one in the moat again, but it caught the dry outside part of the lane, started hooking, but it hooked early because it was out there, and now he's got the 6-9. This shouldn't be too difficult. And he covers it easily. But Davis in an unfamiliar position this match. He is chasing from behind. Curtis Malem starting with 3 spares. He'd like to get a strike. But he's going to have to wait a little longer, as that one got a little too far outside on the lane a little too early, and so the ball picked up early. Went through the nose, and now we've got another one of these pesky right side 3-6 combinations. He's gone to a spare ball. And he covers it beautifully. I tell you what has impressed me most about Curtis Malem thus far is how steady his head is through the release, and he doesn't fall off balance. He is in perfect balance at the line. Watch this. He sticks the landing every time. Look at that. He stuck the pocket as well. Those pins had no chance. He split them right down the middle. Watch this. You can't do it any better than this. Perfect position, great extension through the release, and see you later, pins. All right, Davis, you got your hands full, I think, this game. Oh, man. Messenger tried to deliver the message to the 10-pin, but not to be. All right. Well, normally we will occasionally see pros and better amateurs throw hard and straight at their spares. Davis throws hard and straight at everything. So he doesn't have to make much of an adjustment. Tell you what, as long as you can control it, whatever works. But you know, it almost looks like his forearm it's not parallel to the floor, but it's certainly not perpendicular to the floor. It's like he's trying to throw it sidearm through the release. Oh, look at this. Timber. That looked like it could have been a 4.58, a spare I've never seen and don't ever want to see. But he breaks it down to just the 4-pin. Tell you what, you can be a great spare shooter when you keep leaving easy spares. And by the way, you keep leaving easy spares by keeping the ball in play. Just keep pounding the pocket. You hit the pocket, and you're not going to leave more than 1, maybe 2 pins. And there's never been a single pin spare that wasn't an easy spare. I know, some of you think a 10-pin is really hard to make, but shouldn't be. Well, now this one could be a little pesky. You see how that 4-pin kind of moved to the left? The 2-4 should be an easy spare for a right-hander. But when you spread them like he did, well, that adds a slight element of challenge to the spare. Just hit the left side of the 2-pin, you'll be fine. There you go. I'll tell you, I've been impressed with Curtis Malin today. I think he's one we're going to want to keep our eyes on. He doesn't look like he's going to let anything bother him, and he sure seems like he's paying close attention to his parents, who I'm guessing are his coaches. Oh, man. Well, when you have that loop in your swing where you take it back on one plane and then you bring it down on another plane, that's where you're going to get into trouble, is putting the ball through the nose. That could have been a split. Got away with it, leaves the 4-7. But he goes so fast. And oh, by the way, I haven't really talked about this, but that 3-step approach, by its very nature, it speeds up the approach. I mean, when you're a tall player with those long legs and you're covering 12 or 15 feet of approach in just 3 steps, that speeds everything up. Oh, my goodness. Well, he broke up the split, at least. Leaves just the 9. I don't know. Do you change him to a 4 or 5 step? If I was his coach, I might think about it. But I know it would feel very foreign to him if he's used to bowling this way. Anytime you make a fundamental change like that, you know you're going to run into resistance from the player, and they may not take to it all that well right away. So sometimes it's best to just leave well enough alone. Oh, my goodness. Well, now I know Curtis is living right. That looked like it was right through the nose, but something happened that broke everything down. This could have been a 7-10 split. Watch this. In good balance, though. Right through the nose. 4-7-10 was the last to go. But it went. All right. Does he dare get another one in the ninth? Oh, my goodness. Well, that one brings a big smile on his face. Watch this. This is when you know it's your day. Yep. Everything's coming up roses. Tell you what, Davis has bowled about as well as he possibly could have today. I know he had a couple little slip-ups here in this last match. Really just the one open frame. He's thrown a lot of these, but now the situation is this. Davis can strike out on the 10th for 205. Curtis is going at a 209 pace, so Davis could take it at the tape, but he's got to strike out. But no, he comes up thin, leaves the 2, and that was just about his last gasp. The best he can do now is 185. Curtis will be able to win without a mark. But make the spare. You never know. I've seen some crazy things happen. This would be one of the craziest if Curtis were not to finish this off. He almost got up to bowl in the 10th. It's not quite time yet. Davis has one more toss. With a strike, Davis will finish with 185, and that would mean that Curtis would only need 6 pins on his first ball to lock up the win. There you go. At least you go home feeling a little better when you finish on a good shot like that. And Davis has nothing to be ashamed of. He's bowled great today. Curtis, 6 pins will get you to the promised land. That being the winner's circle. Just keep it in the center of the lane and stay behind the foul line. Well, it was Brooklyn, all right. But 8 is enough. And Curtis Malem just punched his ticket to the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions this June. He can completely whiff this spare. I don't think he realizes he's already won. He's asking for guidance. Should I use my spare ball? Should I use my strike ball? Hey, Curtis, you can use a Frisbee. It doesn't matter. You've already won, buddy. Okay, 9 out. Not as tidy as he would have liked, but a win is a win is a win. Take it and run. Curtis Malem has won the Division III title at the February KCO, and we're going to visit with him and get him to sign the coveted trophy pin right after this. Davis Christensen had one heck of a run today, winning the first 3 matches. But he seemed to lose his look in match 4 and found himself chasing from behind throughout the game, and he just never could quite string together a double to close the gap. Meanwhile, Curtis Malem bowled a clean game until the outcome was secured. His open in the 10th was academic as he wrapped up the title with good count on his first ball in the 10th. So congratulations to Davis Christensen on his second place finish, which is not nothing. But to the victor go the spoils, and it's time you meet our Division III champion today, Curtis Malum.
Look, it's a new face on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Curtis Malum, who just won the Division III championship at the February KCO. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you do it?
I kind of just executed and threw the ball down the lane
How long have you been bowling?
since I was 4.
Since you were 4 and you are 14?
Yeah.
So you're a veteran at this, man. You've been at this for a decade.
Yep.
So how many of these KCOs have you won?
One with my brother.
That was an adult youth?
Yep.
He's a grown-up?
Yep.
So this is your first solo title in any kind of tournament?
Yep.
Well, congratulations. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
So what happens when you win on Prodigy Bowlers Tour is you get to sign the coveted trophy pin, and by winning at the KCO, you also just stamped your ticket to be eligible to bowl in the Prodigy Tournament of Champions in June at Olathe Lanes East, and we will hold a spot for you.
Thank you.
So just sign your name on the pin, put today's date. It's February 2nd, 2025. You got close a couple of times. I saw your name in the stepladder finals once or twice.
That's
2-2-185. So that's it. A first-time winner at the KCO, first-time appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and Curtis Malum just came away a winner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
As we mentioned earlier during the show today, the kids bowling in our periphery to the left were the Division IV group. And here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the 5 seed, Dylan Johnson, took down the 4 seed, Pierre Luis Flores Garcia, 203 to 145. Then in match 2, Dylan won again, this time defeating Kelly Petrick, 170 to 157. In match 3, Dylan Johnson continued his winning ways, fending off the 2 seed, Grady Groom, 201 to 193. And in the championship match, Dylan ran into a buzzsaw as Zion Dawson, the older brother of Cale Dawson, who you saw in the Division III stepladder earlier today, closed the deal to take top honors in Division IV. Then, as we mentioned earlier, the kids bowling in the periphery to our right were the Division V finalists. And here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the number 4 qualifier, Carter Vanderhoff, squeaked by the 5 seed, Shane Wood, 134 to 129. Then in match 2, Jonathan Cooper won decisively over Carter Vanderhoff, 227 to 139. But then in match 3, it was Phoenix Kearns who stopped Jonathan Cooper from advancing any further, 174 to 162. That set up the championship match, with the 2 seed Phoenix Kearns winning over tournament leader Hunter Davenport, 171 to 149. So congratulations to Division V champion Phoenix Kearns, Division IV champion Zion Dawson, and of course congratulations to our Division III winner who you saw today, Curtis Malum. On our next edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, we'll bring you the exciting championship round action in Division I here at the February KCO, and we'll recap how the stepladder finals played out in Division II. Look for episode 183 to drop in about a week. If you'd like to bowl in an upcoming Kansas City Open, visit their website to get all the information you need, including rules and entry forms. Go to www.kansascityopen.com. The KCO visits Lawrence, Kansas in March, Then a second KCO in March happens the weekend of March 22nd, 23rd at Aaron's Family Fun Center in Belton, Missouri. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. And to get all our videos, subscribe to the channel. Just smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to receive notifications whenever we post new content. If you'd like to support the creative work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and it takes about 40 hours to produce each episode, become a Prodigy patron. Go to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and follow the instructions to become a patron. For as little as $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes. And for $10 a month, you'll not only get that early access, but you'll also get your name listed in the show's closing credits as an executive producer. You know, like the big shots in Hollywood do. And if you want to keep up with all things Prodigy, join our Facebook group. From any page on Facebook, type Prodigy Bowlers Tour into the search bar and hit return. That'll take you to the page where you can submit a request to join our Facebook group. Just remember to answer the 3 screening questions so we know your request is coming from a real live human and not a spam bot. So, that's a wrap for this edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Thanks for watching. Until our next time together, this is Coach Randy reminding you to stay behind the foul line and keep kicking out the corner pins, not the foul lights and ball returns. And I'll talk to you again next time, right here on Prodigy Bowlers Tour.